Welcome everyone. If you just joined today's webinar, which is going to be Unleash the Power of AI and Data Science, a real hot at the moment. We've generated a huge amount of interest for this particular webinar in our product series. I think we've got over 160 people registered. So I will give it a little bit of time before we kind of get going. So if you want to rush and grab a glass of water or a hot tea or coffee, then you've got a few minutes to kind of do that. And just to let you know, this webinar is being recorded, so you will be getting the recording and the slides after the event. Once it's kind of downloaded and we've edited it, we'll send you a communication so you've kind of got access to that. And if you would like to pose any questions, you'll see that my colleague has put a welcome message in the chat. Love to know where you're talking to me from today. I'm in sunny Oxfordshire, near Banbury, near the Cotswolds, if you know that part of the world. But love to know where you're listening into from today. It's always good to see the spread of people across the country. So do put that in the chat. But also, if any questions come up at any point during today's session, then I'll do my very best to leave some time at the end to answer them. But if not, I promise you I will download them and get back to you later in the week. So we've got a real range of people from London, Essex, Hull, I think I saw. Hello, Lee from Staverton. Yeah, no, Staverton. Hello, Camilla from London, Mandy from Hull. Santosh is in London. Welcome to you all. I can see the numbers kind of going up here. So if you're just joining, just to reiterate, I will get going about 5 past. We've got over 160 people registered today, so I want to be respectful and give everybody the opportunity to kind of join in due course. So if you want to rush and get a drink, please do so. I'll just put myself on mute and I'll come back off again when we get going. Hello again to those of you just joined. My name is Richard Lambden. I am one of the sales leaders here at Cambridge Spa. I'm excited to be able to talk to you today about the power of AI and data science and the market leading apprenticeship that we've been delivering since September 2000. We've got loads and loads of people registered today, so I can see people are still kind of coming in as we speak. So I'm probably going to get going in about a minute or two. So last kind of notice, if you want to run and grab that drink, a glass of water, cup of tea, hot coffee, then please do so, and I'll get going in about 60 seconds time. Looks like we've got lots of people in the Midlands today, which is great to see. Not a million miles from me, up the M40. I'm in near Banbury in Oxfordshire, so hope it's sunny where you are too. It's certainly beautiful day again here in Oxfordshire. Eastbourne, some sea air. You're very lucky there. Stratford upon Avon, yes, Toby. Yeah, know Stratford very well. Love Stratford. You're very welcome today. Excellent, Zara. Congratulations on passing your level 4. Great result. And yes, the level 7 would be a really good natural extension for that. So hopefully you'll get a lot out of today's session. So let's get going, everybody. Welcome. We've still people are coming in, but you've been good enough to be prompt and on time. So I want to be respectful of your time. If you do have any questions, please put those in the chat. If it's a very specific personal one, then use the private chat facility. But if we don't get time at the end, I promise that we will respond to those individually. And you will, as I said earlier, get a copy of the recording once it's downloaded and been edited, along with obviously these slides. So let me do some introductions. My name is Richard Lambden. I am one of the sales leaders here at Cambridge Spark. I've been in this space for 15 years. And I'm very passionate about helping organizations and individuals find right solutions for themselves in terms of developing their data and AI strategies, implementing the latest techniques, and obviously enhancing their careers if you're kind of you join today for your own personal interest. In fact, I'd love to know why you've joined the call today. So my colleague in the background is going to launch a poll for you. If you would just be good enough to kind of interact with that, and obviously give us an indication of what it is that you are particularly reason that you're joining today. It might be for personal upskilling, which is great. It could be that you're looking to help develop your team. It could be that it's part of your organizational strategy. I'm talking to more and more organizations at the moment who are looking to really harness the power of AI and have a well-formed kind of data strategy. It could just be that you are curious and want to learn kind of more, which is equally absolutely fine. So you're all very welcome, and thank you very much for joining today. So if you haven't heard of us, Cambridge Spark is an AI and data specialist. We want to be, that's all we do, data, AI, and digital transformation. We want to be the best that we can be in that particular space. There are lots of great providers out there, but we are the only specialist data and AI training provider in the country. We've been in business for nearly 10 years now, and we offer a range of apprenticeship programs through from level 3 to this one, which is a level 7 program we're going to focus on today. And if you're on the call as an employer and you're thinking for your team and apprenticeships aren't quite right for you, we have a whole range of commercially funded education programs which range from kind of short masterclasses through to kind of 3-month bespoke programs. So please do talk to us about that if that would be of interest. So Cambridge Spark, what makes us special, I guess? Well, we are a specialist, so therefore it means that all of your trainers, all of our faculty of trainers are specialists in their subject. Sometimes with agencies it can be that somebody's off sick and you don't then get taught by somebody who knows the subject. That would never be the case with Cambridge Spark. We also have what we call a tripartite model, which basically means that we deliver the training in through a number of mediums. Number one, you will attend a regular workshop that's hosted by Cambridge Spark over Microsoft Teams. So you're delighted in this modern age. There's no travel required to attend any of the training programs. And that's a group activity where you'll be using our proprietary learning platform called Educate, which was built by our owner and founder, Raoul, when he was at university doing his PhD at Cambridge, and has morphed into our fantastic award-winning patented training platform. So everything you need to learn, including the software, the training materials, recordings, research papers, etc., will all be embedded within the platform, which you'll be able to access on a browser. So you don't need to load any download any software to kind of do the program. It will all be there ready for you within the platform, and that's a fantastic piece of kit. It's called educate.ai. Yes, we do have an AI chatbot in it, so you can kind of search the materials. But the clever bit about the system is it's got Jupyter notebooks in it. You can submit your lines of code in dummy data sets that we'll kind of give you, and it will give you instantaneous feedback on how your code is kind of working. So really, really cool piece of kit. And then once you're on the program, we will give you 2 personal support people. So we don't just use AIs, there's real people that is going to support you and guide you through the program. One is called a data mentor. And that data mentor is your technical guru who's going to help you apply the learning the way you need it to be applied. You can see at the bottom there's a whole host of logos of organizations we work with, from HSBC to the BBC, Marks and Spencer's, UBS, for example. We work with over 100 NHS trusts. I hope there's some colleagues from some of our NHS trusts on this call today, and NHS England, etc. Well, of course, the data sets are a patient record system is generating are very different from the data sets that UBS are working with, or GSK in the pharma industry. So the skill of the data mentor is to help you apply the learning in the machine learning models and the predictive analytics that you're going to be doing for your organization. But we also give you a learner success coach who is there to guide you through the program, learning techniques, motivate you program, because it may be a while since you've done structured training or learning, and we're there to guide you through the program. Now, that combination of the Cambridge Smart faculty, those two support mechanisms, our fantastic platform means for you, we tend to get outperform the market in terms of grades. So you can get a pass merit or distinction grade in an apprenticeship, and we're currently running at over 60% merit and distinctions for all of our learners across our programs, which is nearly double the industry average. And from a business perspective, we've been able to help learners generate for their organisations over £350 million worth of return on investment through the projects that they implement on a day-to-day basis, and that's all been verified through their portfolio of evidence through their own kind of work. It also means that model that we have, that most of our learners get through the program in about 18 to 21 months. And if you leave Department for Education website, this particular standard talks about a 24 to 30-month program. You're going to be able to apply the learning much quicker. You're going to grow if you're looking at it as an individual quicker, and your organization is obviously going to benefit quicker if you're looking to harness the power of AI. So that's a little bit about Cambridge Spark. You've kind of not heard of us. Very quickly, just in case you're not familiar with apprenticeships, I'll just tell you a little bit about those. Now, when I started apprenticeships kind of 15, 16 years ago, they were mainly targeted at 16 to 18 and school and college leavers. The world changed when the apprenticeship levy came in 2017, and they are now very much used as a workforce development tool by organisations to upskill their existing members of staff. Now, you can absolutely hire a brand new colleague into your organisation and put them on an apprenticeship program. But the vast majority of people that will undertake this level 7 AI and data science program are probably existing members of staff that are looking to upskill themselves. Now, that you don't become an apprentice in terms of your job title. There's no change to your terms and conditions. It just means there is this vehicle called the apprenticeship levy that is a pot of money the organizations have to fund the training that you will undertake. So there's no cost to you as an individual other than your time and your enthusiasm. No financial cost to you. And indeed, if your organization is a levy payer, there is no cost to their organization either, because they're already paying the levy. They don't have to take the money additionally out of their L&D budget. If you are a small employer, then there is a mechanism for the government to pay 95% of the cost, and your company would just contribute 5%. It's called co-funding. Or indeed, if you need some help with that, we have partnerships with some of our employers who are kind enough to levy gift excess funding that they have. So it may well be that we could apply on your behalf to have the kind of cost covered. Now, to draw down the funding, there are some time commitments. The absolute minimum during your contracted working hours, and I stress during your contracted working hours, is 6 hours a week. To be honest with you, I want to be transparent. This is a technical program. It's more likely to be on average about 8 hours a week. And I'll explain how that's made up as we kind of go through the program. All right. So there is a time commitment. It does need to be during your working hours. Now, of course, we're not going to stop you doing things in the evening, weekends, if you're really keen to learn, because you'll be able to access our platform, as I said, 24/7, whether you're at home or you're at work. But there is an expectation that you're allowed 6 to 8 hours on average per week to devote towards your apprenticeship program. Okay, so to be eligible in this country, number one, you need to be living and working in England. England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland have different apprenticeship funding rules. So, if you're based outside of England, then do message me, and we'll see what we can potentially do to help you. But this is a program for people living and working in England. People who have been here or in the European Economic Area for the last 3 years. And when I say in the last 3 years, you can't have been on a student visa or a recent kind of graduate visa. You do need to be entitled to work in this country, or perhaps on a dependent visa. And if you are on a visa that is eligible, sufficient length of time left before it expires to cover the length of the apprenticeship, which, as I said earlier, is 15 to 21 months. Um, as I said, you do need to have time for learning. Critically, you do need to have your line manager and your business support, because clearly they are going to be allowing you to undertake the apprenticeship during working hours, and the business is obviously going to be funding it through their apprenticeship levy. And finally, it says there about experience and knowledge. We need you to be in a relevant job role, but if you've just completed an MSc in data science, then you wouldn't be eligible, because the government would argue that you've already learned everything you need to know to undertake the program. So if you did a computer science degree 10 years ago, that's absolutely fine, because it would be deemed that it's not kind of current learning. But if you've literally just completed a relevant qualification in data science, then that would probably mean that you would be ineligible for the program. But again, if you've got individual queries, you want to put a comment in the chat, or you want me to have a one-to-one conversation with you to walk you through the funding rules in more detail, be absolutely delighted to kind of do that. Okay, so I guess, what is a data scientist? Well, I'm sure you kind of know this if you're on this call already, but it is essentially somebody's going to be using large data sets. You're looking at historical data sets. You're going to be building statistical, theoretical models and trying to make some forecasts for the future in terms of what might be about to happen. So you're going to be using computer models to solve kind of complex problems, much like a scientist in any field does. You have a theory, you propose a hypothesis, you build a model to test it, you put data into it, you obviously get some results, and you moderate the outcomes, refine it to try and make sure that the model is working kind of effectively. So you're somebody who's probably very comfortable in data analytics already. You're somebody who probably is good with Python, because we teach in Python, kind of become the de facto language of choice in the world of data science. So we teach in Python. And so if you've got some Python skills, or you perhaps worked in SQL, something of that nature, then that would be awesome. You're probably already building data reports. You're already probably visualizing that data and having to optimize processes and share your findings with your stakeholders in your business. If you're doing those sorts of activities and tasks on a regular basis, then you're going to be in a really good place to become a data scientist. So I talked about eligibility. I guess in terms of suitability, as I mentioned earlier, no prior data science degree or kind of related in the last 5 years. Somebody who uses Python. If you don't regularly use Python, but you use something like R Studio, and you feel you could transfer your skills into using Python, that should be absolutely fine. But as I say, we do teach in Python, so um, it'll be good if you kind of got some knowledge of Python. This is clearly a mathematical, statistical, algebraic type program. So if you've got that kind of STEM subject, right side brain, logic, in terms of you're comfortable with maths, then that is obviously going to be important and help you progress in this particular field. Somebody, as I said earlier, who is able to work and is regularly working with large data sets you can kind of analyze to build the large language models on, and somebody who is looking to do that forecasting, looking to do that predictive analytics and try and enhance either the efficiency of the business, or perhaps you're looking to generate more leads for your company. It could be you're looking to save cost. It could be you're looking to improve the processes of your manufacturing organization. It could be looking to generate more profit. But those are sorts of projects and tasks you might well undertake. Okay, so here's the curriculum. Um, you can see it's broken down. If you look in that middle white segment, you can see it's broken down into kind of four key quadrants, I guess. And then the fifth one at the bottom is your optional stretch and challenge, optional learning that you can do. In all of the Cambridge Spark programs, we'd love people to excel and really kind of stretch the boundaries and learn outside. So we give you optional elective pathways, which you don't have to choose on day one. We will help you kind of determine which is the most relevant. You can see there are three there: data scientist, data engineer, and machine learning ops engineer, each which have three additional modules, which are e-learning. You don't have to attend any workshops for those, but they can enhance your understanding of the subject matter. You can see in the first quadrant at the top, headed AI and machine learning toolbox. We kind of start relatively basic to make sure that everybody is on the same page. So what is the world of data science? Give you a gentle introduction to the world of machine learning, and kind of, the product management side of AI, and putting it into production. The middle bit that we the middle or I say the middle two sections, and then kind of the last section, I guess, is then when you are going to be taught techniques like analysis and supervised classifiers and unsupervised learning, supervised. These are all techniques that you're going to be taught in the world of data science, in the world of machine learning, to build your machine learning models, to do your forecasting, to build your predictor, or to make those predictions that you kind of want to do. Um, and as the program goes on, it obviously gets more complex in terms of what you're doing. Now, at the bottom there, you can see it talks about an endpoint assessment in that kind of blue box at the very bottom in the middle there. The endpoint assessment is where we and your employer hand you over to an external awarding body to give you that pass, merit, or distinction grade. And it's made up of three elements. Number one, you will do throughout the program a number of discrete projects. In other words, you will build and deploy a number of machine learning models, or do a piece of predictive analytics using perhaps time series analysis for sake of argument. You will be required to do a presentation on one of your projects. You'll also build what's called a portfolio of evidence, because like any qualification in this country, the standard has a curriculum that Cambridge Smart has to make sure you learn, and you have to be able to demonstrate that you've applied the learning. So the great thing about these programs is it's not just theory, it is applied learning. They're very practical, and the way we teach is very practical as well. And that portfolio of evidence is kind of a written document. We think the easiest way for you to be able to demonstrate your competence is to write up the projects that you've been doing over the period of time. Okay, so that portfolio of evidence, you'll have a professional discussion with an assessor from the awarding body. And it's not an exam, they're not testing you. They really want to understand how you've applied the learning. So it might be, they'll ask, what was the problem you were looking to solve? What methodology did you use? Did it work? If you'd had more time, because it might be that the project's still running. If you'd had more time, what would you do differently? What impact it's had? That word impact's really important. The people that get merit and distinction grades are able to show the impact in the organization. And you can see on the right-hand side there in those, under the program credentials side, you can see we've got three little case studies. One from EasyJet, increased model speed through optimizing machine learning. BPA generated more leads. That was a marketing organization, and the model that one of actually our award winners, it says at the top there, we've won 3 successive BCS AI Apprentice of the Years, and one of those was the lady at BPA who was able to increase lead generation for organization. And M&S have adopted a whole series of programs with us, and have been able to really enhance their price modeling and optimization and their stock control, through some of the techniques they've kind of learned. So if you're able to demonstrate those sorts of benefits, and they are normally in two broad categories, they're either efficiency and process gains, or they're on the financial side, either, as I say, in terms of saving cost, or generating more profit for your organization. If you can kind of demonstrate that through your portfolio and in your professional discussion, then you're more likely to get those merit and distinction grades. And we, as I said earlier, as a provider, are currently running at 62% merit and distinction grades against a 33% industry average. So, if you come on board with Cambridge Spark, you are more likely to get a high pass rate. The third element of that endpoint assessment is a technical exam, which is scenario based. You have, I think, about 100 minutes to answer around about 6 or 7 questions. You'll, of course, have lots of papers and prep. Cambridge Smart, we will guide you through this program the whole way, with lots and lots of support. Remember, I mentioned you've got your data mentor that's going to help you build that portfolio and identify suitable projects, and you've got that coach, learner success coach, that's going to help you through the program and kind of internal kind of learning techniques. So that's the curriculum. The practical period, which is your learning period, is delivered over 15 months. So remember, I said that 6 to 8 hours per week of your contracted hours. That primarily relates to that 15-month learning period. And then your endpoint assessment, the window is 6 months. Most of our learners go through in 3 to 4 months. The only reason it's 6 months is because I've mentioned those three assessment methodologies in your endpoint assessment, the professional discussion, the presentation on your projects, and that competency-based scenario exam. If you had the misfortune to fail one of those elements, you then got another 2 to 3 months to resit it within that kind of 6-month window that you're allowed to complete your endpoint assessment. So currently, most of our learners are going through in about 18, 19 months from kind of start to finish. And you'll be delighted to know the next opportunity to join this program is July. It starts on our welcome to program kickoff session will be on July the 16th. Make a note in your diary because it does happen to be my birthday. So if you feel like sending me a message and wishing me happy birthday, then July the 16th is the date to put in your diary. And then your workshops and lectures will follow fairly shortly after that on either a weekly or a bi-weekly basis, depending on the module you're on at the time. The time of year. You won't be surprised. August time and December, peak holiday periods, the workshops are slightly less frequent, but they will be on the same day at the same time throughout the program. So you've kind of got certainty. And because we're a technology company, there's a nice, clever button in the Educate platform where you can just export the whole schedule into your calendar. And it'll have all the links to join the live sessions where you'll be coding using the Educate platform, which is just as early as is a fantastic tool. So hopefully that's everything about the program and the kind of timescales. I mentioned impacts and some of the success stories that we've had. Jamie Kavanagh, I think, was our very first kind of apprentice winner of the year through BCS. You've got Marta there, who was one of the AI apprentices, one of the 3 successive AI apprentices of the year. And you've also got at the bottom there that also won not only our own, we have our own awards, and she was a winner, both with the PM Society Digital Awards, but also with the Cambridge Spark Awards as well. And I've referenced some of the time savings. The EasyJet case study saved 700 equivalent man hours a year through the work that their apprentices. Exertis identified £200 million worth of potential efficiency savings, which is just fantastic. As I mentioned earlier, M&S have a whole raft of programs that they do into their data academy that's had a real impact in terms of the efficiency that they work with. All of these case studies are on our website, so if you want to go to cambridgespark.com and have a look at a whole raft of fantastic case studies that my colleague who's sat in the background there answering your questions puts together for us, then you're very welcome to kind of have a look at those. This is a sneak view of our platform. Obviously, it doesn't look as impressive as a screenshot. I promise you, if you get to come onto the program and play with this system, you will absolutely love it. Yes, there's an AI chatbot in there you can talk to. You can search the whole database in terms of the resources, the materials that we kind of use. There's quizzes, research papers, there's the latest models, all of the slides, the recordings from your sessions, because the sessions get recorded. So if you happen to miss one, or you're an interactive learner like me, you want to get back and listen to it again, you're able to do so. You can see the look and feel of it. It's kind of gamified. This particular person's obviously working on a piece of analytics, and you can see they've completed 58% of the particular assignment, and you can see just about from there it's telling them which bits it's passing and which bits they still need to kind of do. But the clever AI bit of the system is it gets to know you as a learner, so it will get to know your strengths and weaknesses, and if it recognizes that you're moving at a pace, it will stretch and challenge and give you additional work. If you perhaps you need a little bit of guidance and further support, it will do that as well and point you to additional materials. For every program we have what's called an office hours drop-in session. So every single week there'll be an hour. You can just jump on a call with a technical expert if you've got a quick question that needs answering. In the facility, there's a knowledge bank. You can see it says instant feedback. We call it knowledge bank, where you can pose a question and not only will our faculty answer, but we really encourage you to interact with your peers on the cohort, and they will answer the questions as well, because that kind of peer-to-peer learning is a real rich part of the experience with Cambridge Spark. So lots of ways you can kind of get support. We do monthly industry insight sessions where we have our clients and indeed learners on program will share their expertise, which I really encourage you to kind of join. And there are all sorts of other masterclasses and tech masterclasses you'll be able to kind of participate in. So Educate will become your friend and guru. As I said earlier, it's got Jupyter Note built into it. You'll be able to submit your code and get instant feedback directly from the platform, rather than have weeks and weeks for your kind of coach to market. How are we going to support you? So I've mentioned the coaches and the mentors. If I kind of go left to right on the screen, the knowledge will be through the workshops, which are these 3.5 to 4 hour sessions every week or every other week that will be scheduled throughout that first 15 weeks of the program. It's a group activity. Our cohorts are typically kind of 25 to 30 people per cohort. We want it to be big enough for that interaction and peer-to-peer learning, but not so big that you don't get your questions, your kind of queries answered. The experimentation piece is where the power of Educate comes into play, where you're going to launch Jupyter Notebooks, you're going to be coding in dummy data sets that we kind of give you using the Python skills that you've been taught in the workshop, and you're going to build up a skill set. Now, what we try and do for every assignment is give you a mixture of data sets. If you do work in the healthcare sector, there's likely to be a data set that relates to you. It might be if you work in retail, there's a bunch of numbers from a retail organization. It could be you work in finance and it's a set of data around, I don't know, a P&L, or perhaps if you work for an asset management company, it may be around treasury or something of that nature. But we try and give you a choice of data sets so that you're manipulating data that you're kind of familiar with. But just to stress, you never have to put your own proprietary data into our system. You're going to practice in a, say, simulated environment, and then you're going to apply that learning. If you go to the third work-based project you're going to do throughout that 15 months of the practical period. As I mentioned earlier, probably around about 3 or 4 discrete machine learning models or projects you're going to undertake, or pieces of predictive analytics, of which one will be your substantive project that you'll write up as part of your endpoint assessment into this 3,500 word write up and explain what the model was, what it was predicting, did it work, what benefits you kind of got from it, etc. And then the reflection and conceptualization piece is this combination of our coaches, our mentors, those industry insight sessions that I spoke about, the monthly invited guest speakers you'll get to listen to, which are a fantastic way to enhance your wider knowledge. We also have a hackathon built into this. So at the end of the program, you'll have a 2-day hackathon to put into skills, and real fun activity. We get lots of great feedback from. We'll often do a bit like kind of a book club. We'll do a quarterly kind of AI paper that we'll share, and then you'll kind of get feedback and have a discussion group. So real practical program, but also lots of great added value learning to working with Cambridge Spark as well. I mentioned it earlier. I make no apology for stressing this. This is a work-based qualification. My passion is cricket. I used to be a cricket coach, and when obviously I was teaching youngsters how to play cricket, you don't have one coaching session and suddenly get good at it. You have to practice your skills. That's why the funding rules insist upon you being able to apply the learning during your work, your contracted hours, those 6 to 8 hours I mentioned earlier, that typically on average you will devote towards your apprenticeship during your whatever 9 to 5:30 hours that you happen to be working. Now, of that, this is a representation. It's not a set in stone, but roughly 30% of that time on a monthly basis will be your live lectures. About 45% will be the flexible self-paced e-learning and those assignments you're going to do in the Educate platform, post and pre the workshop, as well as those elective modules that you've got the choice of doing. And then the remainder of your time are going to be those rich work-based projects you're going to do on behalf of the organization, any job shadowing you might do, conferences you attend, research you do, and so on and so forth. And that's typically how the time is kind of broken down. Okay, finally, if you want to learn more, you can scan the QR code and it will obviously take you to the Cambridge Spark page. I suspect that Abby will have posted information in the chat. So if you want to register, there is an expression of interest form that Abby's put into the form there, which somebody in my team will then reach out to you and contact you and go through it in a lot more detail, go through your personal circumstance, and obviously make sure you're eligible for the program and you can apply the learning. If you want to reach out to me personally, you can see my name, Richard Lambden. I'm on LinkedIn. My email is richard.lambden@cambridgespark.com. You're very welcome to email me directly, and I'll be delighted to help in any way I can. As I mentioned earlier, the next cohort starts on July the 16th, which is a Wednesday. That will only be a 2-hour welcome to program session. And then your first workshop will either start the week after or the week after that. If you are interested in that, then we need to have your expression of interest all sorted by the 27th of June to give us enough time to get you set up on our systems, on Educate, for example, and have a good onboarding experience, and get you invited to that July session. So you've got what, best part 6 weeks to have a conversation with your line manager, conversation with Cambridge Spark, and obviously get your application kind of approved. But I've I think I've come to the end of the session. Thank you so much. I can see we had a huge number of people on the call. You've all stayed to the end, which I'm really grateful for. I wish you a great rest of your Tuesday and a great rest of your day. And I really hope to see some of you on this program very, very soon. If you're interested in doing it, I would encourage you to join now. If you follow what's going on in the press, the government, our current government, through the Department of Education, are reviewing all the funding for the level sevens. So we don't know how much longer we will be able to offer this program through the apprenticeship levy. So if you want to do it, you think it's the right time to do it, that obviously is important. I'd really encourage you to join that July cohort, because it may just be that there aren't too many more sessions that we're able to offer after that, if the funding rules kind of change. So just a little kind of heads up. If you're interested, get on board, scan the QR code, talk to the team, and we'll be delighted to help you. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you on our next webinar very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.